Really, it was interesting to me, and if I can, recall specifically, we kind of thought of when we hear something that, we see something beautiful, or we hear a beautiful piece of music, or we're so moved, the metaphor that kept coming back, maybe too often, was that there was a sort of a tear in the veil of call it whatever it is, that which hides sort of the creator or the creative force or some mystical power, or if you want to make it a little bit more simple or commonplace. We feel sort of depressed or alienated from one another. We don't have a constant sense of community because we are in individual bodies. Sometimes we'll hear something or see something that's so moving that for a brief moment we feel this connectedness, this sense of hope. It's almost as though we peek beyond the veil, and beauty, we wondered if that veil were totally torn and moved away, we would just have everything. And everything, this is sort of paradoxical, isn't beauty. Beauty is beauty because it stands in contrast to the pain and alienation we have in the world. We also got into the woo-woo universe, which is, talking about the cosmos and different scientific perspectives on were that thing to tear, could we, if we all at, say, I thought of this, 12 o'clock on April 16th, everyone was on the earth was doing something beautiful, and not necessarily art, and we also had the idea that art wasn't quite as sublime and capable of carrying beauty as caring for somebody on a very personal level, something that was never heralded, no money was exchanged. It was a very personal form of beauty. We thought that if this were to go, a preponderance of the people on earth were to do it at one time, something amazing might happen, some cataclysmic change. That's as crazy as we got. Thank Norman for that.
Well, I like, Norman had this great thing about we're all, this is contemporary physics, that we're all living in the bottom of a kind of well in space-time. And that's only because we're sunk down in this trough or this declivity that we can't see the parallel universes, and that maybe when we have an apprehension of beauty, we're getting a glimpse of one of these parallel universes, right? Am I getting that right? Yeah. Yeah, that's science. That's science.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not woo-woo at all. It's, like it's coming out of CERN or something.
That I thought was interesting was the whole conversation around subjectivity and beauty being something that you sort of create. So if you're an artist and you put something out and I'm receiving the art, it's something that happens when the two come together. So I thought it was really interesting because it's sort of the joint relationship that happens between the two. And you talked a lot about it being a moment in time. I really love that where like it's sort of the world stops and maybe the veil opens up and you get this sort of energy rushing and you feel the beauty and it sort of goes
That's
away.
the enchantment of beauty. Sometimes we talk about the glamour of beauty. Glamour is actually a Scottish word for enchantment. I think the whole advertising business is based on this kind of enchantment, but it also goes back to the roots of much of the way that the Western world thinks about beauty, and the way Baudelaire described it, that beauty is the promise of love and happiness. This goes all the way back to the Greeks, when they had the first beauty contest, and the shepherd Paris had to choose between the three goddesses. He chose Aphrodite, the goddess of beauty, because she says, I'm going to give you the hand of the most beautiful woman in the world, Helen of Troy, but I'm going to be sure that the two of you fall in love together. And that coupling of happiness and love and beauty go with us today when we talk about how happy we feel walking into a beautiful Calatrava building, or how happy we feel even listening to Mahler's Ninth Symphony, which has this whole thread of sorrow through it. So it's not just a neutral or sappy feeling or emotion, that it's offering us, really, as my friend Houston Smith says, another world.
Right. So that it's actually really important it's really important. Beauty is not just a decorative add-on. It's a fundamental.
So somebody else, another group?
Take a break in between?
Why don't we eat? Why don't we eat? Take a break? And then go to the second group.
Bon appétit.
Bon appétit.
Bon appétit tout le
Yeah.
monde.
And cheers to the monde.
Cheers.
Oh, actually,
Santé à tout le monde.